Hi guys. I'm not there today, as you know, and Mrs. Kinsbrunner was nice enough to offer to be there in my place. And as I explained to you, I wanted you to do this review for your summative assessment on Monday. So I just wanted to go over briefly all the questions with you just to make sure that I clarify each question. Of course, I'm not there to answer your questions, but I'm hoping that by making this little video for you that you will, that all of the questions will be clear. And as always, you'll do the best that you can. And I'll be there on Friday with God's help, and I'll answer any questions you might have. Remember that I told you that I want you to work either by yourself on this, which is actually my suggestion because you're going to take the assessment by yourself, or you can work in a maximum of 2 people, but no more than that. You can certainly ask, a friend a question if there's something you don't understand, but each one of you should make your own study guide. Even if you work with a friend, each of you make your own study guide because that's what you're going to study from. Okay, so let's start with question number 1. By the way, as I mentioned in class, the answers to these questions can be found in pretty much in one of 3 places. Either on the PowerPoint that I gave you on Kavod, or on the I gave you 2 sets of text. One was text about how we're supposed to give kavod to our parents, and the second set of text is how parents are obligated to give kavod to us. You should be able to, with those 3 resources, answer all of the 15 questions on this resource, on this guide. You can set up your guide any way you want. You can either, I'm giving you a Word document, so you can either write directly into this document. You can just look at the questions and write type or write the answer somewhere else. It's completely up to you. This is your study guide. So do it the way that works best for you. But this study guide, the answers to these 15 questions, is all you will need in order to master the assessment that I'm going to give you on Monday. Okay? All right, let's start. Number 1. What is the meaning of kavod, kaved, and kibud, and how are they connected? I want to remind you that I gave you 2 different answers for kaved, and we talked a little bit about the differences and how they're interconnected. And I realize that kibud is a little bit of a stretch, but whatever, you can certainly give me your opinion. Number 2, it says in Pirkei Avot, which some of you may remember is part of the Mishnah, the one who honors Torah will be honored by others. What does that mean? That if you honor Torah, that other people will honor you. We talked a little bit about that in class. And that's a little bit of opinion, but it's also kind of fact. Think about what it means to honor Torah and how that's connected to other people honoring you. Number 3, name 2 different laws associated with kavod and how we fulfill those commandments. Remember, we talked about different things that are written in our Torah that we have to give kavod or honor, etc., besides honoring our parents. And at least some of that, if you don't have an idea in your head, you can definitely get help for that on the PowerPoint. Number 4. What is the 5th commandment? Why is it included in the first 5 commandments and not in the second 5 commandments? You may remember when I wrote all 10 commandments on the board, we talked about the 5th commandment. Hint, hint, it's the title of the whole unit. And we talked why it's included in the first 5 commandments. Think about what we agreed and what I taught you are the overarching theme of the first 5 commandments. And what's the overarching theme of the second set of 5 commandments? And then tell me why this particular commandment is included in the first 5 and not in the second 5. Number 5, the commandment of honoring your parents is mentioned 2 times in the Torah. What is the difference between the 2? I've given you that text, both texts. If you need to look it up, one is in Shemot and one is in Vayikra. Look at the wording of the text. And look very carefully. It's very clear when you look carefully as to what the difference is between the two. And you need to know that. And I would also like to know, I'm going to add on to this question, that you should tell me why it's worded differently. Like I want you to know the difference between the two and also the why. Number 6, name another commandment which merits a long life. This should appear in your notes. So you'll have to look for it. I will give you a hint. In Hebrew, it's called Shiloach Hakan. And what is the connection between Shiloach Hakan and this commandment dealing with kavod? Why are they connected, and how do they merit a long life? Why do they merit a long life? Number 7, who are the 3 partners in the creation of a child? This question was on your midterm. You should certainly know the answer to this, but certainly I think we can all agree that it's relevant also to the topic of this unit. Number 8, what is the punishment for cursing, hitting, or dishonoring a parent? And is it a reasonable punishment? It's a pretty strong punishment. But I also want you to remember that this is not the cursing that you may do when you're being rude to your parents and slamming the door and saying, I hate you. This is serious cursing, like cursing their life. And we talked about this. And hitting and dishonoring, we're talking about like the major stuff. Not like minor disrespect, but, cursing their life or, really, like battering a parent or doing them tremendous dishonor personally. And then when you put it in context, then tell me, is it a reasonable punishment or not? Number 9, the commandment to honor one's parents is one of the most important mitzvot. What does that say about the Jewish people? Why is it such an important mitzvah? Why are we commanded to give so much kavod to our parents and to our elders, frankly? And what kind of statement do you think that makes about the Jewish people? Number 10, the Or HaChaim, which is a commentator who gave commentary primarily in the Talmud, says that the way you treat your parents is the way your children will treat you. What's the reason for this? And how can it really be true? I mean, how much do your children really get to see how you treat your parents? It's true that, some of you are fortunate enough to have your grandparents still with you, and maybe you're able to see your parents' interaction, with your children, but you didn't see them growing up, and you don't know the dynamic that went on in their house. So what's the reason for this? Why does the Or HaChaim think that, the way you treat your parents is the way your children will treat you? What is that all about? Number 11, are we commanded to honor our parents even if they're not good to us or if they don't take care of our basic needs? Why or why not? When I say our basic needs, remember that I'm not talking about, what you consider your basic needs, like you must have a PlayStation 4 or, they must be working on buying you a car as soon as you turn 16. I'm talking about basic needs, food, shelter, love, or if they're just, not good to us, etc. So are we obligated to honor our parents if they don't do that, if they don't meet our basic needs? And then why or why not? Number 12, how can one honor their parents when they're no longer alive? How do we honor parents, after they pass on, etc.? And that answer you can find in the text. Number 13, list 3 instances when a child is not obligated to listen to their parents. We discussed a couple of those, and those are also definitely you can find those in the text. Are there times when, a parent asks you to do something or insists that you do something that even though we must give our parents kavod, that you are not obligated to listen to them? And name it, there's many, name at least 3. For number 4, the question is based on the text below it. The text is, our rabbis taught that a father or a parent has the following obligations toward his son or daughter: to circumcise him, which we know we don't do to a girl; to redeem him, which we also don't do to a girl if they're firstborn; to teach them Torah; to find a spouse, a wife or a husband; and to teach them a craft or a trade. And there are some who say that we must also teach them how to swim. So the question on that text is, what's the deeper meaning of that text? What does it really, really mean? Okay, on the surface, it's to circumcise and to teach them Torah and to find them a wife, etc. But what's the real deeper meaning? What are these things? What do they represent? Why are they so important? And why are they considered the most important? And why is it imperative? Imperative is that you're really, really obligated to teach your children how to swim. What is that all about? Why do you have to teach your children to swim? Is it because we live in Florida and maybe your family likes boating? Or is there a deeper meaning to why you're obligated to teach your child to swim? And what does swimming represent? And number 15, the last one, list 4 things that a parent is obligated to do or provide for their children. There are way more than that, and you can find that on the last piece of text, the last sheet of text that I gave you. You just have to know 4. You can list as many as you want, but you need to know 4. Okay, that's it. Remember that Mrs. Kinsbrunner really can't answer your questions. She's there to keep you company. She's there to look at it, but she really can't help you. If you have any questions, with God's help, I will be there on Friday, and I will answer whatever I can. Be nice to Mrs. Kinsbrunner, and I will see you on Friday. Hugs. Bye-bye.